I will call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. tonight. And I will turn it over to our principal for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening. I would like to welcome up our student council members. Come on up.
Hi, my name is Laveda, and we will be doing the Pledge of Allegiance. Hi, my name is Brookston. I'm 4th grade student council. Hi, I'm Emma, and I'm 4th grade student council. Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm in 4th grade student council. Hi, I'm Zoe, and I'm in 3rd grade student council. Hi, I'm Cheryl, and I'm in 3rd grade student council. Hi, I'm Harper, and I'm in 3rd grade student council. Hi, I'm Eleanor, and I'm in 3rd grade student council.
Hi, I'm Carson, and I'm in 3rd grade student council.
Hi, my name is Emily, and I'm in 3rd grade student council. Hi, I'm Mazzy, and I'm in 4th grade student council. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, students. Well done. All right, board. This evening, our first item on the agenda is our board calendar and public records request. Are there any comments or notes? All good? Okay, wonderful. Next item on our agenda is the first reading of select board policies. We have quite a few here. I didn't see any questions prior to the meeting. None received. Are these all okay to move forward to second reading? Good? Okay, great. Bonnie will move these forward. I'll click on. And now the main event. Principal Halverson Tran.
Thank you. Well, good evening, Superintendent Hudson-Peeler, Board Director, Director Thibodeau, and Board of Directors and audience. Lots of parents out here. Thank you for being here tonight. We are so thrilled to share all the great things that are happening at Boarding Elementary School. Tonight you will hear from our first grade team over here about all the great work they are doing in their PLC, and they're going to talk a little bit about some opinion writing that they're working on. Then you'll hear from our school counselor, Megan Barbara, and our music teacher, Mrs. Dennett, and both of them are going to share our community partnerships with our Watchdogs program and our art docent program. After that, we will have a lovely performance from our first grade students who are going to sing 2 songs for us. Then Miss Barbara is going to talk about some self-efficacy work, and then our school psychologist, Miss Dawson, is going to talk about our MTSS systems. As you know, Orting Elementary School changed from Orting Primary School this last year. We are nearing 600 students in grades preschool through 4th grade, and we have so many things to celebrate with you tonight. We are thriving with our academics with a focus on literacy and mathematics, and also with our community partnerships. At the beginning of the year, we brought a team of our staff together and included some parents to really look at our data and decide what was going to be our next best step this school year. And what we found was that students at Orting Elementary School might not have as much grit and perseverance that we want them to do in order to learn those really hard things and rigorous learning in the classroom. So we decided to dig in deep into self-efficacy and really highlight that work with our staff, and we're excited to share our growth in that area with you. Along with the fact that we really wanted to engage our community and our families, and we are just thrilled with the kickoff of our Watch Shop program and our Art Docent program and having families come into the building on a regular basis. First, we're going to talk about our academic growth, which you'll hear from our first grade team. And you'll see from our goals here on our school improvement plan that we wanted to focus on all grade levels rather than typical, just what you would see on our state assessment. So our goal is written for both grade bands K2 and 3-4 and highlights both literacy and mathematics. And in order to do that, we are really leaning into the work of a PLC or a professional learning community. And that means every Friday when students get released early, our teachers get together and they look at the best instructional practices, student data, and they make some very intentional steps to move kids forward. And now we're going to hear from the first grade team.
Hello, thank you so much for having us. We're the first grade team. I'm Haley Hodges, this is Kaylee Bonine, Ruth Maria is our PLC lead, and Morgan Olney. Today we're going to talk about our opinion writing unit and how we look at data and really the whole PLC process and how we move through that. So if we look at our PLC process, it really helps us have a collective efficacy to hear each other's voices and what works best for our students. Intentional with our teaching practices, and our small group instruction and scaffolds really helps us go through the data together and just be on the same page on what would be best for kids. Also helps us provide effective research-based support, so we look at that, and helps us address the disproportionality that we see. So the standard that we picked was writing, 1.1, so I'll just read it for you. Write opinion pieces in which they introduce the topic or name of the book they are writing about, state an opinion, supply a reason, and provide some sense of closure. And really important in our work too is we look at the preliminary standards and what extension would be. So that would be kindergarten and second grade standards. So kindergarten is focused on using a combination of drawing and writing. First grade, we move away from the drawing part and kind of go into the real work of the writing. If we look toward extension pieces in second grade, really looking for more than one reason, digging in deeper to the feelings, and kind of extending it that way.
All right, so I'm going to talk about the unit of instruction as itself. So our unit of instruction for our SMART goal focused on opinion writing, where we pulled from Module 2, Unit 1 and 2 of our Bookworms curriculum. So when we look at the strengths and the weaknesses of the Bookworms curriculum in terms of writing, we really look at the level of rigor that it has, and that we see that as a strength. It's a really inclusive writing program that helps strengthen the writing process for our students. And by strengthening that process, we're giving them sense and STEM support and different types of books examples that help launch their different types of thinking. We also, a strength that we see is just really bringing the shared reading block and connecting it with what we're doing in the ELA block as well. So there's a strong connection. And then also just providing students with that sense of efficacy, self-efficacy by giving them choice. And then as we look at the weaknesses, we want to keep in mind just to be more intentional with what we're doing. And we kind of are playing in on just what we're seeing of what would be best, kind of focusing on the pacing of the Bookworms curriculum, the quick turnaround time for the end product, looking for a need for differentiation resources for all of our students, and then providing some sort of writing conference and meeting with students in a smaller group setting that focuses more kind of on like sentence structure or some smaller skill that our students are needing. Good, next slide. Thank you. And then this is our actual SMART goal. So at the end of the opinion writing unit, all students will improve opinion writing scores by 1 point on the 4-point rubric based on their pre-test scores and or be able to independently be able to craft their own opinion sentences. Student progress will be monitored by the 4 writing tasks during the unit. And then this is the why we're doing this, to benefit all of our students and their growth in crafting a writing piece in regards to creating and presenting an opinion. To formulate an opinion piece that includes the facts, the connections, and the emotions and choice that are attached to it as well, and to show mastery of an opinion piece that includes all of the topic, opinion, reasons to support, and a conclusion.
This is what we worked on with our SMART goals. So we had a pre-assessment, and at the beginning of the unit in November, we had students pick one of the 5 books that we have read, and for them to provide a sense of reason why they like that book. Also, we did 2 formative assessments. So we took from share reading, that connection that we were talking about, and just having them express the opinion and why. And at the end of the unit, we did a summative assessment in which they took lessons 41 to 45, which is around 5 days, to write an opinion piece of their favorite book. So we have some examples. We handed out some pages so you guys can see a little bit closer. So this is one student that showed that growth from pre-assessment all the way to the summative assessment. So in this one is an example of what we did with our book review. We had them state the title of the book, an opinion, why they chose that book, why they liked that book, a reason, and a closure. For the next part was our formative assessment, so we kept tracking how they were doing with opinion writing, and on this one they had to write why, a pet that they would like to have and why. Why would they pick that pet? And this student picked a goldfish, and so they had to have a reason of why that would be the best pet for them. Our second formative assessment was this written response in which we talked about, did you feel sorry for the character that was in the story, and why did you feel sorry? So we went beyond just saying why you liked something, but we also attached the feeling to that. And for our summative, they had to pick one of their favorite books out of 6. We worked on Sid Hoff books, and so they had to say the title, reasons why they like that story, based on story elements, and providing that detail of why they like that story, and a sense of closure as well. And how do we talk about all these assessments? We do our team analysis cognitive assessment form, and this has helped so much in our POC. We go through questions, what did we notice? What did students do in the assessment? Did they provide a topic, a reason, a sense of closure? And so this really helped us be intentional about our next steps. We're looking at end of year assessment or end of year goal. And so we really want to know, what do we need to do next? What do we need to apply for our next time that we do opinion writing? And also, how can we align our teaching strategies as well?
All right, so after going through the TACA form together and getting to look at our students work together as a team and kind of seeing different trends, our responses to the data that we found, we wanted to make sure that going forward, we're providing sentence stems with scaffolds from bookworms, working in small groups, having writing conferences when appropriate with certain students, modeling a shared reading with the discussions that we're having feeling word banks. We noticed that a lot of students were just retelling the story, and so after talking as a team, we decided we need to be intentional about sharing like a connection to the story, like a feeling. So if a student were to say, this book made me feel happy because the characters were good friends. So kind of having that extension of saying something from the story, saying a feeling, connecting with it, and then going on with their writing. So when we had our extension, we were seeing that within this unit of study, we had 20 students meet end of year grade level standards for opinion writing. I'm not sure if there was a little graph, but so we had 20 students meet it, and then there was quite a few students that we saw were really on the cusp of meeting it. So we decided that with those students that met the end-of-year standard, we wanted to move forward with the second grade standards and push them to provide more than one reason, talk with them about it a little bit more, ask them intentional questions to get them talking about it and explaining their thinking. And then with those students also providing them linking words such as because, also, and to make their writing sound more fluid and connect all of their thoughts with the reasons that they're providing in their story. The students that were on the cusp of meeting the grade level standards, having those writing conferences with them, and like I kind of said earlier, those intentional conversations of what are you feeling about this story? Why did you choose this one? How can we connect it to what you learned about in the story?
And this is what we talked about earlier, the disproportionality. And so we were looking at attendance, we were looking at ELL students, we were looking at students of color, students who are in MTSS, and attendance as well. So we found that 84 out of 110 first grade students have at least one measure of disproportionality. And out of these students identified, 76 of them did not meet the standard yet. And so we're talking about meeting the standard. This is end of year standard. And so we're still working on that. And that gives us an overview of what's going to be our next steps as a team. So for next steps, this is what we all talked about, and we wanted to provide reasons that connects to the story elements. Like Morgan was saying, we talked about retelling a story. They do a beautiful job of retelling, but we want to focus on the why. Why did you pick that story? Why was it your favorite? Was it the characters? Was it the event? What was happening? Also, we want to focus on interventions such as sentence sims, writing conferences, modeling, and having a word bank to help students with those details. Also, we want to take Bookworm's graphic organizer and we want to modify it to make sure that students add that detail of why. And also, we talked about extension. So if the students are there for end of year standard, how are we going to bridge to that second grade standard as well? And so we're going to hear from some of our students. So I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Hodges.
Thank you. Yeah, we are lucky enough to have two of our first graders with us tonight. We have Bentley from my class and Logan from Ms. Bowman's class. And they would love to read their opinion piece to you.
The best Sid Hawk book is Danny and the Dinosaur Ride a Bike. First, I like to ride a bike too. It is funny when they put pillows in the parking lot. Last, I like their personality. This is the best book.
Good job. Thank you, Bentley.
The best Sid Hoff book. I love the book Danny and the Dinosaur Ride a Bike. The dinosaur is very helpful to Danny. The reason I think that is the dinosaur made a pillow road for Danny so he would not fall on his head. Another reason is I like that the dinosaur makes Danny happy. Another reason is that it is funny when the dinosaur rode a bike with no hands. The best Sid Hoff book is Danny and the Dinosaur Ride a Bike.
Thank you so much. We would love to answer questions if you have them. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time.
think that is such a powerful tool, especially at the primary level. And great job. Great job. I'm really got a smile on my face.
I don't have anything that specific. But I will say great job to the team. It's a lot of hard work, and as evidenced by these examples of your group, job well done. And if I might ask the students, you get to read a lot of books now that you're in first grade. Do you like the writing part, writing about the books?
Yes.
Good. I love writing myself. Nice. Good job, guys.
I just want to say, great job, first graders. You know, reading and get that microphone, like said earlier, that takes a lot of courage, and you kids did a great job on that. It's awesome to see this program working and watching this happen. So we can definitely see right, that we're moving in a great direction. Good job.
Thank you. So much, and I appreciate that you're focusing on helping students see that extra effort, but also pushing those students who are already there at the degree goal forward and giving them still more to learn. I think that is
Thank you so much. Okay, it's going to be hard to follow after Logan and Bentley, but I'm going to try my best. So I'm going to be talking about goal number 2. This was our goal to address community partnerships and increase our community engagement with our families. So our initial goal was that we wanted to increase community partnerships and opportunities for families to volunteer by December, and we did that with our Watchdogs program and our Art Docent program. So that's already started, which was amazing. And then by June, our goal is to demonstrate that improvement with some feedback from families. Some of the ways we tried to do this was by introducing 2 different types of volunteer programs. So I do Watchdogs and Ms. Dennett does Art Docents. I'm not going to get into it too much because you'll hear from us in a minute. And then we wanted to make sure we secured some funding, so we reached out to our PTA and they were able to provide funding, which has been great for our programs, and we're hoping to keep that. And then something that's pretty exciting is Ms. Dennett's going to work on a spring art show, so stay tuned. Okay, so Watchdogs. Watchdogs is dads of great students. What is the program? The program is a way to engage males, so dads, grandpas, uncles, just father figures in general, to come in and be a positive role model for some of our students in 3 critical areas, which is behavior, academics, and then self-esteem. Why Watchdogs? Well, it's a way to let those males come in and volunteer. They can show their students how important school is. It provides extra eyes and ears, so it helps with safety, and it just boosts overall community in our school. So that's enough from me. I'm going to introduce 2 of our Watchdogs to come up and kind of talk about how the program's been for them. So let's welcome Aaron Coleman and Eddie Jessic, please. I'm going to have Eddie go first.
I got roped into this by my wife. She told me she signed me up for it. But I was totally in, man. Like I, as a young adult, I grew up doing youth ministry in the church, working with young people. As a high school student, I worked with the 6th graders when we did Camp Thunderbird. I went every chance they let me. Being able to impact younger people was a huge deal to me because I had older men that were able to impact me positively, my father with other people as well. Being able to come into the classroom and help not only with my kids, which is really cool because you walk in, dad sees you, and he's like, "That's my dad!" And you're like the all-star of the day, but going into a class where you don't know a single student, you get to help out with reading or math or something like that, it's really cool to help a kid that's that might be behind or struggling with something, and to be able to just work with them and free up the teacher to be able to help the rest of the class, but also be able to show them that there's more than just your teacher who cares about your success. So that's cool, and doing the recess stuff is super fun, man. If any of the dads out here, if you have the opportunity to do it, take a day off, come out, play basketball with the kids on the, doing recess or something like that, work at the little tray there. I'd say the only negative that I'd have to say is that they don't have it at the other school yet, so I can't volunteer with my oldest daughter, but I think we need to talk to them and get it put in place over there. If I can take a point of privilege up here.
Thank you. Here's Aaron.
Hey, good afternoon, or good evening, I should say. I think the Watchdog program is awesome. First of all, my wife volunteers to school all the time, so she's heavily involved. I think for guys, it's a little bit more difficult to try to find your in and when you're going to go there, when you're going to be there for the kids. From start to finish, I would say, give kudos to Ms. Barber. First of all, the communication is great. You get an outline of your day beforehand, so you know what you're walking into. You get a bunch of swag to give out, so when you see the kids, walking in for lunch, it's kind of nice to be able to say, hey, good job, you're doing great. Those things are really big, and I think the positive influence and just being around the kids is huge. So I think the organization piece of it's great. I would echo, and I would say I challenge more dads to do it, dads, grandparents, uncles. Really easy. I think some of the times it's a little apprehension of I'm not sure what I should do or how I should get involved or if I can do it. Super easy. She literally sends all the information. It's super easy. It makes everything great. And I think, like you said, you're the superstar. I mean, I walk in my daughter's class and I'm getting high fives, at recess, they're like, do you play basketball? Yeah, I play basketball. Let's go. And so I think challenging some of those, maybe some of the kids that are having a little bit of a rough day or some of the kids that maybe have a little behavioral issue, it really shifts it. And it turns their day maybe into a little bit better day. So huge supporter of the program. I think it's great. And definitely would encourage more dads if you're out there, if you're in the audience, sign up. It's super easy and you'll enjoy it. I guarantee it'll fill your cup.
Thank you, Eddie and Aaron. Just one more thing I wanted to add is we've noticed in our behavior referral system when we have dads here, the behavior write-ups go down immensely. So it's just been so great. But I want to welcome Ms. Dennett up so she can talk about art doses. Thank you.
Good evening. I brought some friends with me that are going to also speak in student voice about the Art Dawson program. I am Mrs. Dennett. I am the music teacher here at Boarding Elementary, and I have had the privilege to manage the Art Dawson program this year. We have not had art at our school for many, many years. And there definitely was so much need for students just to have different outlets, ways to express themselves. Doesn't have to just all be sports. It can be many things that bring out the creative whole child. So we were really blessed. When Connie came to our school, she mentioned the Art Dawson program, and it was funded by our PTA. And we're very, very thankful to have this program for our students. The program is led by volunteers, and bringing parents and community to do art with the kids has been such a wonderful partnership. And there's a lot of smiles that we see. And the students here would like to say thank you in their voice and tell you about what art meant to them. Students were able to use art supplies. They were learning art methods. They did some wonderful things that we're going to display when we have our gallery near the end of the school year. This is Charlie.
We would like to thank our volunteers for bringing art to our school. Art is so much fun and exciting.
This is Georgia.
I am so happy we have art at school. It is fun to create new things.
Mrs. Ava.
Art Dawson gives me more ideas to create more things.
And Mrs. Ari.
Art Dawson made me see that love has many colors.
Mrs. Claire.
I fill up in my heart. Miss Anna gives us expressions to use art things. It makes us feel special to have visitors.
This is Piper.
We don't get art all the time, so it is special to have volunteers visit us.
And this is Koa.
It is exciting to see new faces show us fun things to make.
Thank you, students. Mr. Coleman. Is Mr. Coleman still here? There he is. Mr. Coleman and Mrs. Coleman were part of our volunteer program, and Mrs. Coleman could not be here tonight, but Mr. Coleman got some special words to be said about your life's experience.
Hi again, it's me. Sorry, my daughter's under the weather, so my wife's at home with her. But she gave me a couple things to say, so I want to make sure I get this right. She said, I love volunteering for the Art Docent program. She said, helping support teachers and staff who care for our children during the day. The Art Docent program gives volunteers a purpose when coming into the classroom. They're able to give teachers one-on-one time with their students or to catch up on things. And kids love learning from others, so it makes it exciting and fun. So I know she's a big proponent of it. Like I said, she's always involved, and she talked about just the one-on-one and the direction it provides when she's in the classroom. So huge proponent of both programs, and I think getting the parents in the school is huge. And you know, as parents and families that just love being here, you know, we appreciate, you know, what the staff does for our children. And I don't think you can say enough about it. I don't think it's said enough, but it's a huge thanks. And so it's just a little way to say thanks, and we're here to help too.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Well, I have some students that are coming in, thank you, that are coming in to join us. And I'm going to lead the way up here and have them join the line. I brought some first graders tonight. And in the spirit of first grade, and excuse me, we're going to move on down this way, Koa. Can you guys all follow Koa down this way and bring your book? We'll spread out a little bit. Good. And when I count to 3, we'll find our space, right? You might want to grab your book. Grab your book. 1, 2, 3. Find a space. Arms out. Awesome. Now you can put your book gently down. Awesome. In the spirit of first grade, we want to share with you our love of learning and our curiosity to discover more things through the arts. We want to thank some special people tonight that have helped us grow and continue to help us with lifelong learning. We're going to do this through the art of music.
Get out of bed and ready for school. I know my friends are getting
all of you for being a part of all of our growth.
Always be sunshine. May there always be blue skies. May there always be children. May there always be you. May there always be songs. May there always be music. May there always be teachers there for you. May there always be sunshine. May there always be blue skies. May there always be passion. Because you are you. Thank you, volunteers!
Would anyone have any questions for us up here?
No questions, but I am going to say a couple of things. Enthusiasm, and I love it. I love it. And for our tech person back there, if you can get a snippet of let's get started, I would love to use that as my alarm.
Thank you, kids. You all did wonderful. You're awesome.
You put a big smile on my face, thank you, and some of you just have some lovely moves.
I just want you to know that we could feel your energy. We see you all wiggling and excited and all smiles and very proud of what you've accomplished. And we're very proud of you too, so great job.
Very good job out there. Brought the energy and brought smiles to everyone's face, and amazing dancers and singers.
And just from the board, myself, thank you so much to our volunteers that make this program, the Ardosa program, as well as our Watchdog programs possible. So thank you, and we're out there recruiting for you too.
Thanks so much for bringing back Watchdog and Ardosa. Those are fantastic programs. They've done wonderful things when I was here, and I'm so glad to see them back. I would have liked to see a picture of Mr. Larimer giving him chew out of the mud.
Well, thank you so much for all your support. We appreciate it. Next we have Miss Megan Barbara. The whole child, my favorite.
Okay, we're gonna have our beautiful first grade singers exit with Miss Dennett. Did you guys notice they did this to me again right after the kids, every time? Okay, so this time I'm going to be talking about the whole child. This is goal 3 for us. This goal is to increase the percentage of students responding favorably to our Panorama survey, specifically around self-efficacy.
Hey, good job, baby. You did good.
So some of the ways, well, actually, rewind. I wanted to first say what self-efficacy is, in case anyone here doesn't know what it is. So self-efficacy is the strong belief that we have it in ourselves to make our learning happen. So I'm going to say that one more time. It's the strong belief in ourselves that we can make our learning happen. So some of the ways we tried to make this goal happen is we created a tool for self-efficacy evidence in the classroom. Our teachers were given lessons for teaching self-efficacy to our students because if we're not teaching it to them, they don't know what it is. And then another thing we did is a recognition program. So we have Cougar Kudos cards that we can give out to kids for showing self-efficacy. So this is some of our data from the Panorama surveys. So in the fall, you can see that our 3rd and 4th graders were ranking at about a 45% in that favorable ranking for self-efficacy. And now in our winter, they're at 54%. For our kinder through 2nd graders, in the fall, they were at 38%, and they are now at 53%. So a lot of growth. This is something that's so cool to see. So you can see our fall is that light blue color. Our winter is the teal, darker teal, and then our goal is the orange. So it is so amazing to see how close we are to those goals at this mid-year check-in, and I just can't wait to see what the growth looks like at the end of the year. So what now? We saw we made a lot of growth, but we want to continue to make growth. So what we're going to do is Mrs. Tran is going to continue those self-efficacy walks. So she goes around classrooms and looks and identifies what it looks like and sounds like for kids to show self-efficacy. We're going to continue to refine and revise those look-fors specifically, so what it looks like, sounds like in a classroom. And then we're going to share additional ideas from Panorama. They have these playbooks, and they're basically articles that can show teachers how to provide self-efficacy in the classroom even more. And then we're going to continue to measure our success and show it off in the spring. Thank you. I would now like to bring up Heidi Dawson, our school psychologist, to talk about MTSS. Oh, questions? I was trying to get out of here. No.
No questions. First, I just want to say thank you for defining the word. Sometimes those of us that aren't in this realm 24/7, the way most of you live, it feels like having those definitions is very helpful, and I love the progress that you've made with that specific thing. That's awesome.
I just want to say thank you for teaching it, because we assume that this is something people naturally feel, but for a lot of these kids, they might feel that way, they wouldn't recognize it, and a lot of the kids, it's going to be the very first time they realize that they have that power. So, great, because it's an important thing.
Yeah, I was just confirming with Superintendent Hatzenbeeler that we'll get to see your spring results, because I can definitely see the progress that you've made even just in this short time frame is really impressive. So we want to encourage you to keep going, and I look forward to seeing it in the spring.
Saying that everyone's saying, that makes it easy to be the last one, let me say that. But it'll be good to see it in the spring, and let's see. The growth that's going is awesome, and that we're getting close to what the goal was. You know, who knows what's going to happen, right? Maybe you blow right past that. So, yeah, great job.
I was just imagining, so we're in this role, most of us, for another 3 years, 4 years. And to be able to see these kids who learn about self-efficacy, feel confident in their own abilities, like what are they going to be like, 3 and 4 years out? It's really exciting to see. So this is foundational work that's going to carry them through life. It's just something to be really proud of. Thank you. And then thank you guys for the positive comments. I just want to make it known, it's not just me, it's a school-wide effort, so teachers and everything, but thank you.
Barbara, I would take all that credit. I'm Heidi Dawson, I'm the school psychologist at Orient Elementary School, and I know Ms. Barber talked about how it's difficult to follow up, but it's really difficult for me because I'm about to present data, and I know how much everyone loves statistics that closes at 7 p.m. at night. So for me, I am talking about goal number 4, which is our student support systems, and it's specifically focusing on our multi-tiered systems of supports that we have, with targeting specifically our 3rd and 4th grade, because we know at this point in time, these students, some of them are multiple years behind, and we need to figure out how do we close that gap for them. Some ways that we are trying to help close this gap is the master schedule this year has been revamped to allow for a lot of that inclusion for all students. All of our students have access to Tier 1, so that's your core instruction. We've made it this year too that students that are in Tier 3 get Tier 3 instruction, but they're also getting access to Tier 2 instruction, which all students have access to as well. So that is a really big thing because you're essentially getting kids double dips of things, especially when it's tailored towards that reading instruction. We have refined our referral systems. So for our MTSS, we have systems in place that kids can get referred to. Our MTSS coordinator will usually meet with the teacher beforehand, and then it will help tailor some interventions. And if we get to a point that those aren't working, then we have a whole team that those teachers can come to. We're also doing this as a means to help streamline our special education referrals, because we know not all kids that have gaps and deficits necessarily have a disability that requires them to receive special education services. We've implemented those tiered interventions like I talked about, Tier 1, Tier 2, and 3. And then we have strategic improvement for inclusive education. So that's really making sure that all of our teachers know how to teach our curriculums that they have access to. So that could be our Tier 1, Tier 2 core curriculums, but also the implementation of our SIPS program, making sure that our teachers that are providing that instruction know how to implement that instruction so the kids are getting it with consistency and fidelity, because we need consistency and fidelity for kids to grow. And then, as I talked about, we have that Tier 3 reading program for SIPS, which has been a huge, big thing. It's a really big deal for this to be coming into the school this year, and I will kind of touch on that, especially coming from the perspective of the school psychologist. So for our MTSS systems, we have our Tier 2 requests, and at the time we've had a total of 48 Tier 2 requests, and that's just up until this point in time of year. We still have a lot of school year left. 6 of those requests have moved to special education evaluations, meaning that we've done the tiered supports that we needed. Kids still haven't made the growth, so we need to move and implement something stronger for them. All of our meetings end with some form of intervention for academics and behavior. We don't want our teachers walking away feeling like we have nothing to offer them and that they can't implement in the classroom. Interventions, we have a variety of interventions that we put into place. For social emotional, we have check-in and check-outs. We have one-to-one check-in for academics. We have social groups. We have the SIPS program. We recently tried to implement more Tier 2, Tier 3 math. And Ms. Whitney, who is our MTSS coordinator, and I have been working on writing, because that is also an area that we need more support in. For Tier 3, we are looking at multiple data points to determine how do we target students and the supports that they need. For our Tier 3 reading interventions, they are doing bi-weekly frequency checks to see if students are making growth, and we monitor that data to determine what are our next steps for students. Do we get to exit students out? Do we need to do something more intense into them? Sometimes curriculum doesn't work, so we need to come back to the table and figure out what does that student need. For CREATE, we are working as a team to also, like I said, target that math in Tier 2 and Tier 3. We have, part of that process is a diagnostic assessment that allows us to see what gaps students may have, especially if it relates back to like kindergarten and first grade level, because we know math builds on it. So if they have gaps back then, we need to fill those gaps in order for them to be able to do what they need to do at the higher levels. We continue to see great growth with our students that are receiving Tier 3. Especially in that reading, and I am excited to share that data with you in a little bit. So, it's really hard for me to see, but as you're, it's not your fault, but as you're looking in here, we're specifically targeting mostly our 4th and 3rd grade students, but we do have 2nd grade students that we've implemented and noticed that we need to do some more supports for them. Catching them early is a really big deal. We don't want them to develop larger gaps that already exist. So our 4th grade students have been in the program longest, and as you can see, those students that are participating in the program are making really great growth within a 10-week time frame. One of the students that we really want to highlight at the 4th grade level is a student that we're not only seeing
for reading, but we're also seeing for other avenues because it's been a student that has not had access to his education at all as a 4th grade student. So he has made pretty ridiculous growth within that time frame, considering he did not have education before. For our 3rd grade student that we wanted to highlight, this is also another student that has attendance issues through time, and as you can see in the time that he's been provided Tier 3 support, he has also made a substantial amount of growth. So at the Tier 2 team, we have more data for you. We've had 38 support requests from teachers, 4 parent requests, and then 6 of the requests we've also had are we've had referrals to special education. We've looked at the data and said special education is not the route for them, so we send them back to our MTSS team to work on tier support in that capacity. 4 of our teacher requests were speech-only concerns, and then we're currently monitoring 18 students with interventions at the Tier 2 or Tier 3 level. Some exciting things is that we've had 12 of our students graduate out of our MTSS program. We have had 6 students move to special education evaluations, and that's just part of the process for us. 15 of our students that are currently receiving support with academic interventions, 93% of them are showing success with what we've been providing them. We have 3 students who are currently receiving support with behavior interventions. 66% of them are showing success. And the one student that's not, we are still actively trying to figure out what kind of behavior interventions can we implement for this student to see success. Do you guys have any questions?
I was just wondering how long are students typically in the MTSS? Well, everybody's in their Tier 1, right? But like you've already graduated 12 out. Is the goal to get the other students out by the end of the year? Is that a realistic goal, or?
I would say that always depends on the student, because like we talked about, some students have multiple year gaps, so the goal is always to ensure that they're making growth. Obviously the goal is always to get students to Tier 1, right? But if we have a student that's at Tier 3 and we can get them to Tier 2, that's a really big victory in and of itself too.
Yeah. Great, thank you. Questions?
No questions. I just want to compliment you and the entire team on really diving in. Data is data, but to dive in and to have very specific information and to know what you're doing with it, and to be able to articulate that to us, to me, in a way that I understand. I appreciate it 100%. Great job.
I'm grateful that the data is individual student level and not just these broad groups. I really appreciate the detail at the individual student level because each kid's different and they all need supports. So I just really appreciate that. Thank you for sharing with us. We care a lot about data. You know, it's 7 o'clock at night. This is what we live for, so thank you.
Well, I think one thing I want to end on, and I think it's important to highlight, this is my first year here, so I've been in other programs and districts with MTSS programs, and to see where this program has started, where it is now, and the trajectory that it's heading, I imagine there's going to be a lot of really great things for students that's coming down the pipeline. I'm excited.
Well, that's all we have for you. That's the end. I don't know what to say now.
Do I get it back to you?
That's it. Board, any last words?
Hey, great job. What's going on at OSE now, right, is phenomenal to see the growth, see the excitement. We're seeing that in the staff, we're seeing that in the children, and just great job.
You wouldn't be able to tell me that this was your first year here at Ording. So job well done. It seems like your team is supporting not only each other, but you as well. And then most importantly, the kids. There was a lot of comments made here tonight that just, the fact that you have volunteers
that say it's more than just your teacher that cares about you. That struck me, and that's one on my notebook, bringing programs back. So great job, Boarding Elementary School, your role places.
You didn't have any reason to be nervous. That's just a conversation. Thank you for having your staff tell the story and the kids, because that really showed not only the engagement of the kids, but the engagement of the staff, and their observations show just how much they are committed and understand what they're doing. So thank you for that. And thank you to all of you.
Yeah, I will echo what Melissa said. We can't tell it's your first year. You're doing a great job. Keep going.
Thank you.
All right. You're all set.
All done.
Yeah, till next year. Till later. All right. Well, I always learn so much in these school-based meetings. I appreciate them so much. The last item is board comments. Board, is there anything? I know. Yeah, I think we're good. All right. Superintendent Hudson-Beeler, thank you. And Marjorie, any last comments? All right. Then